There is a smell most people will never admit they have noticed on someone they love. Not perfume, not sweat. Something underneath both of those things. A specific, faintly waxy, faintly greasy smell that arrives quietly somewhere after 40 and that most people in the Western world have accepted as simply what happens to a body over time. Japan does not accept this. In Japan, it has a name, Kareishuu, and the Japanese understanding of it is so precise, so clinically specific, that it changes the entire conversation from the moment you hear it. Because in Japan, Kareishuu is not considered an inevitable consequence of aging. It is considered a preventable consequence of 11 specific daily habits that most people outside Japan develop in their 30s and never think to question. Here is what the science says underneath the cultural understanding. The compound responsible for this smell is called 2-non-enol. It is a fatty acid oxidation product. Your body begins producing it in measurably higher quantities after 40. Not because your body is broken or declining in some irreversible way, but because the same sebum your skin has been producing your entire life begins oxidizing more rapidly after 40 when certain daily conditions are consistently present. And here is the part that most people in the Western world were never told. The daily conditions that drive 2-non-enol production are almost entirely habit-based, which means the smell that most Americans accept as the natural consequence of aging is, in Japan's understanding and in the documented science behind that understanding, almost entirely preventable. 11 rules. The ones Japan follows. The ones most Americans break every single day after 40 without knowing those habits have a smell. And Rule 7, the one that surprises people most consistently, is not about what you put on your body. It is about what you put inside it. And the connection between what you eat, what you drink, and what you smell like after 40 is one of the most documented and least discussed pieces of science in all of personal care. Stay with me until the end, because Rule 11 is the one that makes every other rule on this list actually work. Let us begin. Rule 1. Stop washing your body with the same product you use on your face. In Japan, this is considered one of the most basic distinctions in personal care. The face and the body are completely different biological environments, and treating them identically produces a specific and measurable consequence. Body wash formulated for general skin typically produces a strong lather through surfactants that strip the natural sebum layer that protects the skin surface. When sebum is stripped too aggressively, the skin regenerates it quickly and in higher quantities than before. That excess sebum oxidizes on the skin surface. That oxidized sebum is 2-non-enol. A study published in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology confirmed that 2-non-enol concentration on the skin is directly correlated with sebum oxidation rates, and that over-cleansing is one of the primary triggers of that oxidation cycle. Japan's bathing culture washes the body gently with a mild pH-balanced cleanser before entering the bath, not with the aggressive lather and rinse habit most Americans practice as a complete routine. What to do tonight? Find a body cleanser with a pH between 4.5 and 6.5, close to the skin's natural pH. Use it with a soft cloth rather than a rough scrub. Your skin should feel clean but never tight after washing. Tight means stripped. And stripped means the oxidation cycle that produces the smell begins again immediately. Rule 2. Stop wearing synthetic fabrics directly against your skin after 40. After 40, the body's temperature regulation becomes less efficient. Sweat is produced more readily and takes longer to evaporate. Synthetic fabrics, polyester, nylon, acrylic, trap sweat against the skin rather than allowing it to move away. Trapped sweat creates a warm, humid environment for bacterial activity, and the bacterial breakdown products of sweat on synthetic fabric are the secondary amplifiers of 2-non-enol smell. In Japan, cotton and natural fibers have dominated traditional clothing culture for centuries because natural fibers breathe. They allow moisture to move away from the skin rather than sealing it against it. Research from Shiseido Laboratories, the most comprehensive published study on Kareishuu, specifically identified synthetic fabric wear as one of the 4 primary daily habit contributors to measurable body odor increase after 40. Make this change. Replace the layer that sits directly against your skin with natural fibers, the underwear, the undershirt, the clothes you sleep in. You do not need to overhaul your wardrobe. You need to change the one layer in direct contact with your skin for 16 or more hours of every single day. Rule 3. Stop skipping the liver. This connection is not obvious until you understand the specific mechanism. And once you understand it, you cannot stop noticing how directly an internal organ connects to something as external as body smell. Your liver is responsible for filtering and processing oxidative compounds from the bloodstream before they reach the skin. After 40, liver efficiency naturally begins a small but measurable decline in the speed with which it processes oxidative waste. When the liver is additionally burdened by alcohol, processed food, and inadequate hydration, the oxidative compounds it cannot process exit through the skin instead. That is the mechanism. That is why some people smell more strongly at certain stages of their life. Not because aging is general, because the liver is carrying more than it can fully process, and the overflow is leaving through the largest organ available. In Japan, liver support is a dietary daily practice. Daikon radish appears in traditional Japanese meals consistently because its compounds support the enzyme system your liver uses to process oxidative waste. Miso soup, consumed every morning, contains the amino acid methionine, which is directly involved in glutathione production, the body's primary internal antioxidant that neutralizes the precursors to 2-non-enol before they reach the skin surface. Start here. Add 1 daily serving of daikon, fermented vegetables, or miso soup to your regular eating. Not as a supplement, as food. This is the dietary intervention with the most direct documented connection to what your body produces at the skin surface. Rule 4. Stop letting your washing machine be the last thing that touches your fabric. This is specific, and it is one that most people outside Japan have genuinely never considered. 2-non-enol is a lipid-based compound. It is oil-soluble rather than water-soluble, which means a standard water-based wash cycle moves it around the fabric rather than lifting it out. This is why some clothing produces odor even immediately after washing. The compound survived the wash cycle because the wash cycle was never designed to remove it. Japanese fabric care includes a specific pre-soak step. Bicarbonate of soda dissolved in warm water before the main wash, or white vinegar added to the rinse cycle. Both target lipid-based compounds specifically. The bicarbonate dissolves the fatty acid bond. The vinegar neutralizes the bacterial component that amplifies the smell on fabric. Research from the Japan Society of Fiber Science confirmed that this pre-treatment significantly reduces 2-non-enol in fabric compared to standard washing alone. One practical change: add bicarbonate of soda to a pre-wash soak for clothing worn directly against your skin. 1 tablespoon per liter of warm water, 15 minutes before the main cycle. This is one of the most consistently effective changes people report noticing within the first week of making it. Rule 5. Stop underestimating what is happening in your mouth overnight. After 40, saliva production decreases during sleep. Decreased saliva means the bacterial environment in the mouth becomes significantly more active overnight, producing volatile sulfur compounds and other metabolites that are detectable not only in breath but systemically through the bloodstream, appearing in sweat at the skin surface. Japan has among the most rigorous oral hygiene cultures in the developed world, not because Japanese people are more disciplined about teeth, but because the Japanese understanding of oral care extends to the tongue, the gum line, and the direct connection between overnight bacterial activity in the mouth and the systemic odor, compounds that appear on the skin and breath throughout the following day. Japanese oral care includes tongue cleaning every morning as a non-negotiable first step before any food or water enters the mouth. A tongue scraper removes the bacterial film deposited overnight before it can be swallowed, before it can activate with the first food of the day. Begin this tonight. Add tongue cleaning to your morning routine before anything else enters your mouth. A tongue scraper costs less than $3. The bacterial film you remove in 45 seconds every morning was actively producing odor compounds overnight and would continue doing so the moment you ate or drank without removing it first. Now stay with me, because Rule 7 is the one I told you about, the most surprising connection on this entire list. But Rule 6 comes first, and Rule 6 is the one most people resist because it sounds too simple to matter at the scale it actually matters. Rule 6. Stop letting your bedding go more than 3 days without changing the pillowcase. Your pillow cover absorbs sweat, sheds skin cells, and oxidized oils from your face, scalp, and hair every single night. After 7 to 10 days without washing, the concentration of these compounds on the fabric reaches the level at which bacterial breakdown is measurable, and the oxidation products present transfer back to your skin and hair during subsequent nights. You are washing your face every night and then placing it against a fabric that carries 10 days of accumulated oxidative compounds. The net result on your skin chemistry is not neutral. In Japanese households, pillowcases are washed every 3 to 4 days as a standard practice, not as a preference. As a skin and odor management decision understood to be as fundamental as showering. Here is the starting point. Wash your pillowcase every 3 days, not your full bed linen, just the pillowcase. The single surface that is in direct contact with your face and hair for 8 hours of every night. This one change is the lowest effort, highest return step on this entire list, and it can begin tonight. Rule 7, the one I told you about. The one about what goes inside rather than outside. Stop eating the foods that feed two-nonenal production at the cellular level. Here is the chemistry, and it is worth sitting with because once you understand it, the connection between daily diet and body smell after 40 is impossible to ignore. 2-nonenal is produced when unsaturated fatty acids in the skin are oxidized by free radicals. Free radicals are produced by normal metabolism, but are dramatically accelerated by specific dietary inputs. Alcohol accelerates free radical production significantly. The reason heavy drinkers produce measurably more 2-nonenal at any age. Refined carbohydrates and added sugar produce glycation, a process that damages fat structures at the cellular level and produces oxidative byproducts, including the direct precursors to 2-nonenal. Red meat consumed in large quantities daily contributes to the same oxidative load through heme iron's interaction with lipid oxidation. Japan's traditional diet, fish over red meat, fermented foods containing active antioxidant cultures, minimal refined sugar, green tea consumed multiple times daily, is not a coincidental collection of healthy foods. It is a dietary pattern that specifically and measurably reduces the oxidative load that produces Kareishuu. A study from Kyushu University found that green tea polyphenols, specifically EGCG, directly inhibit the lipid peroxidation pathway that produces 2-nonenal precursors. Japan's average green tea consumption is approximately 3 cups per day. The study found this level of consumption was associated with significantly lower skin 2-nonenal concentrations in subjects over 40 compared to non-tea drinkers of the same age. The dietary change that matters most: reduce alcohol to no more than 3 occasions per week. Replace refined sugar with natural sources where possible. Eat fish instead of red meat at least 3 times per week. And drink genuine green tea, not green tea flavored products, 3 times daily. This pattern, sustained for 60 days, produces measurable changes in skin chemistry documented in the research. Rule 8. Stop using heavy synthetic fragrance to address the symptom instead of the source. Synthetic fragrance applied over a skin surface that is producing 2-nonenal does not neutralize the compound. It combines with it. The interaction between synthetic fragrance molecules and the fatty acid oxidation compounds on the skin surface produces a third scent profile, one that is often more noticeable and more associated with age than either component would be alone. This is the science behind why heavy cologne or perfume application can amplify rather than mask the smell it was applied to address. Japan's fragrance culture after 40 moves toward minimal and natural rather than heavy and synthetic. Light application at 1 or 2 pulse points. Natural-based fragrances rather than heavy synthetic bases. And treating the source through the rules on this list rather than covering the symptom with increasing application. Apply this now. Reduce synthetic fragrance to 1 light application point. If you are applying fragrance to cover rather than to complement, the chemistry underneath needs addressing. More fragrance is not the solution. It is a louder version of the problem. Rule 9. Stop using very hot water when warm water would work. Very hot shower water strips the skin's acid mantle more completely and more rapidly than warm water. The acid mantle, the slightly acidic protective film on the skin surface, is the primary barrier against the bacterial and oxidative activity that produces body odor compounds. When it is stripped and takes 1 to 2 hours to regenerate, the skin during that window is more susceptible to oxidation and bacterial colonization than at any other point of the day. Japanese bathing culture separates washing, done efficiently with warm water before entering the bath, from soaking, done in the ofuro at a temperature warm enough to relax without stripping the skin surface. The hottest water in the Japanese bathing ritual is the soaking water, and it is entered after washing, not used for washing. Lower your shower temperature for the washing portion of your routine. Warm enough to be comfortable, not so hot that your skin appears red or feels tight after. The soaking temperature and the washing temperature are not the same thing, and they do not produce the same effect. Most people conflate them and pay the price daily without knowing it. Rule 10. Stop neglecting the scalp. After 40, the sebaceous glands on the scalp produce sebum that oxidizes more quickly than in earlier decades, for the same biochemical reason that skin sebum produces 2-nonenal. An under-cleansed scalp is one of the strongest carriers of body odor compounds in older adults, specifically because oxidized scalp sebum is warm, close to the face, and at the proximity of direct conversation in a way that general skin surface is not. Japanese hair care after 40 includes scalp massage with the fingertips during shampooing to mechanically loosen sebum and dead skin cell buildup before the shampoo can emulsify and remove it. Scalp exfoliating products appear far more frequently on Japanese pharmacy shelves than American ones, because the scalp is understood as a skin surface, requiring the same attention as facial skin, not simply the base of the hair. Give this 60 seconds. Massage your scalp with your fingertips for 1 minute before and during shampooing. Wash your hair every 2 days if you are currently washing less frequently. The scalp is the most consistently overlooked surface in older adult personal care and one of the most impactful to address. Rule 11, the last one, the one that sits underneath every other rule on this list and determines whether all 10 before it actually work the way they are supposed to. Stop treating hydration as optional. After 40, the body's thirst signal becomes measurably less reliable. Research published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults consistently underreport thirst relative to their actual hydration status, meaning you are more dehydrated than you feel. And dehydration has a direct and specific effect on the skin's ability to manage 2-nonenal. The skin uses water in 2 ways relevant to this conversation. It dilutes the concentration of oxidative compounds at the surface. A well-hydrated skin carries the same absolute amount of 2-nonenal, but in a lower surface concentration, meaning the smell is less detectable even when the total compound amount is identical. And it supports the kidney's filtration function, a key pathway for removing oxidative waste before it ever reaches the skin. In Japan, tea, green tea, barley tea, hot water is consumed continuously throughout the day, not as a conscious health practice, as simply what is in the cup at every meal, during every pause, beside every piece of work. The result is continuous low-level hydration that maintains the skin's dilution capacity rather than the spike and deficit pattern of drinking large amounts at meals and nothing in between. Make this one permanent change. Keep water or unsweetened tea within reach for the entire day, not scheduled, not tracked, simply always there. After 40, by the time you feel thirsty, the dehydration has already been present for longer than your skin could afford. 11 rules. Every one of them free. Every one of them possible to begin tonight. A pH-balanced cleanser instead of aggressive lather. Natural fibers against the skin. Daily liver support through daikon and miso. Bicarbonate pre-soak for worn clothing. Tongue cleaning before the first drink of the day. Pillowcase washed every 3 days. Green tea 3 times daily, and the dietary pattern that reduces oxidative load at the cellular level. Minimal synthetic fragrance addressing the source, not the surface. Warm water, not hot water for washing. Scalp care with the attention of facial skin. And water within reach all day so dehydration never arrives before you notice it. Kareishuu is not the smell of getting older. It is the smell of 11 habits that Japan stopped practicing a very long time ago. The body you have at 40, at 50, at 60 is responding to what you do daily, not to time itself, to the daily inputs that either accelerate oxidation or prevent it. walk into your bathroom tonight and look at what is on the counter. Which of these 11 rules are you already breaking? And more importantly, which one are you changing first? Tell me the number in the comments, 1 through 11. Because the rule you name tonight is the one you are most likely to actually begin tomorrow. And if this changed the way you understand what aging smells like, and more importantly, what it does not have to smell like, share it with one person in your life who is over 40 and has never heard that this is preventable. They deserve to know. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.